that, again, 6 o'clock, we're going to call the meeting to order. Taking the pledge. Well, remain standing for sure, Pastor Gola.
Pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for Blissfield, for everyone here tonight giving time, caring for the important needs of our village. We ask for your blessing on this village council tonight. Prosperity on all the farms and businesses, provision, protection for all emergency services in fire, medical, police, success in every area. For healing and health through all the medical facilities and senior centers, and encouragement for all who work there. Comfort and strength for anyone who's lost loved ones. Remember organizations and churches planning programs, vacation Bible schools, for lots of helpers, volunteers, for children and whole families at this time to find hope in Christ. Look forward to peace and security in all our homes throughout summer vacations and all the traveling. Holy Spirit, we pray for insight, wisdom in all council deliberations, decisions tonight, especially for next week's 4th of July celebrations of freedom, and at this time for America's security and protection in these days. Truly successful river raising festival and safe, enjoyable time for everyone taking part. Just in this moment of silent prayer, bring all our needs before the Lord in our own hearts. Lord, in your strong mercy, hear our prayers. Amen. Have a wonderful meeting tonight. A great, peaceful, good summer of refreshment. Thank you.
Thank you. Start off, Lisa, roll call, please.
Mike Gunner,
Present.
Van Dusen, Bill Gritzmaker,
Here.
Sherry Luce,
Here.
Ken Nichols,
Here.
Eric Rogers,
Here.
Timothy Waters,
2 minutes from June 9th.
I move to approve minutes of the June 9th, 2025, as presented. Support.
Have a motion when support Sherry to approve the minutes of June 9th, 2025 as presented. Any discussion?
Yes, the corrected minutes are in front of you guys, so that is what you're actually approving. There shouldn't be, we did find it, or Ken found an error, so, unless there's something else. Of course.
What was the change?
We had under the new, or I'm sorry, unfinished business, the resolution 525 for the river raisin, there's 2 motions. And the first motion did carry and it said it was opposed 6-1. It was recording the people that were absent. So we just got that corrected to accurately reflect who was here and who voted.
Ladies, you okay with that quote amended version?
I am.
All right, there's no further discussion. Lisa, call roll.
Bill,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes, motion carries. Up next, moving on to presentations, communications. We have Mr. Martis, Lorraine County Commissioner. On the agenda tonight. I'll start with that.
Thanks, Mr. President. A couple things of note, I won't drone on too long, but we do have another night meeting this Thursday night at 6 p.m. Folks have been asking for night meetings. Our first one was well attended. So encourage you all to attend, and of course, all our meetings, almost all of them now take place in the chambers. So they're streamed live. You can see them on Facebook and other social media outlets. And then they're kept in an archive, and you can go back and check them. I also point out that our website, if you go to it, you'll get the same board packet right there with the link that we use for our meetings. So we've come a long ways with transparency, and I'm very pleased with where we're at. We're gonna be revisiting a couple of matters of old business at our meeting this Thursday. One will be continued discussion about restoring some kind of relationship with Lenawee Now. I'm on a subcommittee that's been working on that. It's been difficult to get everybody together to talk. I do think the votes exist for us to restore a relationship with them. We want to make sure there's some measurables to see what we're going to get in exchange for the money. And one of the emphases that folks have on the commission, and we're hearing from the community, is that we do something to the degree that we can to encourage the development of housing, which is always a problem. It's very hard for the county government to do much about that. We don't control anybody's zoning, which are some easy ways you can make housing more affordable. We don't control that. But there's a model, I think it's called Housing North in Traverse City, where there's a consortium up there that's been effective in gathering grant money and helping direct that to various building projects. And as I said at the beginning, the last thing I want is to have a vote as a commissioner as to which community that goes to. And so if Lenawee Now could help provide some leadership and work with Housing Lenawee and some other entities that are working on this, we'll see how that looks in contract form, but I believe we're moving in that direction.
Kevin, if I may,
Sure.
is with the housing issue, is it the lack of housing and or the cost of the house?
Well, it's both, and I met with Joe Williams, who's heavily involved in this. And as a banker, he understands that, you know, their goal is to try and get houses to that group. I'm not saying that everybody's on board with this, but that particular discussion, which is where some of this has come out, is we like to see houses in the $160,000 range. Well, we all would. I'm a builder. I can't build them for that price, which means somebody's got to come up with $80,000 to $100,000 to subsidize every house. Well, if we use county money for that, it wouldn't last very long, and it wouldn't make much of a dent. And then where would we put it? Riga, Addison, Adrian, Tecumseh, and in general, this has been a theme of my time in office. Most of the economic development emphasis of the county is always focused on the Tecumseh Adrian corridor. So I'm always a loud voice to say, hey, 75% of us don't live there. It's our money too. So but that's what we're looking for is, you know, every community has different housing needs. And so we're going to look for, hopefully they will pick up that task and find appropriate solutions as they go forward. I guess what the other item will be at our meeting Thursday night, because it never goes away, and that's the disposition of the Tecumseh Products property. I'm on the subcommittee that's working on that. We have had two interested parties in the property. Both are county businesses, well-established, would be a good fit. So far, nobody has wanted to put pencil to paper, and what we'll be discussing Thursday night is that we decided as a commission that it's actually for sale. I think the votes are there now to say that, yes, we're able to sell it. You may recall a year and a half or so ago, there was, or maybe a year, there was a motion out of the blue that we not sell it for 4 years. I think the hope was maybe there'd be a change in the makeup of the commission last election, and there was, but not in the direction that was hoped for. So I think we will see an effort to at least make it available. So your question may be, if you're not officially selling it, why are you showing it? Well, ethically, when somebody shows up and expresses an interest in our property, council's advice is that we should show it to them, and if they want to bring an offer, then we can good faith have to take that up. So it could be another lively evening. The next one, and this one I would like your input if you want to send me an email on it later. I don't want to drag out your meeting, but the county sheriff's department has asked for us to acquire license plate reading cameras like they're using in the city of Adrian. Flock is the system they want to use. I do believe the votes are there for it to be put into effect ultimately. The concerns I have, and I'm hearing from the district, are, well, of course, Big Brother, you know, we're storing this information for how long and who owns it. And the next question is, will these things issue speeding tickets and catch you running red lights? And the answer to that is no, they will not. But I think the most controversial thing at our last meeting, and this has been sent back to criminal justice twice, in fact, we're having a special criminal justice meeting again tomorrow to talk about this very issue, is that the flock representative assured us that these cameras were not going to take video, they were not going to identify the color of the car, the occupants of the car, and that kind of thing. It was simply designed to capture the license plate information, the time and location. Fortunately, the next day, there was a news article sent to me that was actually put out 2 days prior to the Flock presentation, where the CEO of Flock said this fall they will roll out new capabilities that include surveillance, images of the cars, video, and the ability to turn the cameras on and live streams. Which maybe the commission wants, maybe not, but nobody seemed to want that at the time. In fact, the arguments that they didn't do that were one of the arguments they were using to make us want to, of course, move forward with it. So I hear from the folks in the community who, in general, none of us like to be snooped on by government. On the other hand, some of you may know Dave LaMontagne, who is the, that's business agent, probably your business agent for the, you represented by, UAM, I think. Don't mean to put you on the spot, but anyways. He's also a trustee in Riga Township and a friend, and of course, he's all in favor of this, so you can see, I'm trying to balance both sides. ACLU has some concerns about the length of data retention, and they recommended a compromise rather than a municipality keeping the data for 30 days, maybe we limit it to 3. And so I suggested that we try and modify that. Flock said they were good with it, but they're not the votes there for that, so I voted no. It will pass, but right now my tendency is to lean on the path on the side of less data for less amount of time. I don't see, there's no way to satisfy everybody on this one. Send me an email if you want to talk about it. The other thing that we did not get in the presentation from the sheriff, and I fully trust the sheriff's department to act with integrity. I like Sheriff DeVere, we have a good relationship. But Axon, who makes body cameras and also makes competing license plate reader systems, they recommended a list of policies that a municipality should put in place to regulate the access to the data, to require an annual report on how many license plates were read, how many crimes were, solved because of it, usage statistic, who's accessing it, what are your controls to make sure. Somebody sent me a news article about a spouse who was embittered with an ex or something. I don't know how it worked, but they were accessing it to keep tabs on where their ex-wife or ex-husband was. I don't know. I mean, a lot of those things can happen with a lot of mechanisms. I know the sheriff's department will regulate that, but we don't have a formal policy on that. And that's one of the things I know will come up tomorrow too. When the vendor of, the brand of these cameras is recommending firm policies to protect data and usage and to report out on it, I think we have to pay attention to that. The last thing I will talk about, and I just got the call today, we've put together what we're calling the Bridging the Gap Subcommittee, because you may be aware the county is receiving these opioid settlement money. I think so far we've got something between $1 and $2 million. I've not attended the committee yet, but that's going to change. They've just appointed me to chair that committee because Commissioner Van Doren is busy. We've received 24 proposals from various entities wanting to access those funds. The uses are very limited by the nature of the settlement. My concern at the beginning was that money might somehow be able to drift off into things that are not directly related with the problems caused by substance abuse. And I think that money should be directed to correct that need. And so fortunately, that's the direction we're headed. We'll see. There's a lot of competing interests, and I guess maybe my role will be to herd cats for a while and hopefully come up with a consensus. But apparently there's substantially more money than this first round coming our way. We certainly want to make sure it's going to help the people that need it the most. So there's my update. Any question?
What time is the meeting?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, thank you.
And thank you for, I don't know if you all agreed on 6 o'clock, but I like 6 o'clock. It works nicely for me.
Where is that money coming from for that program?
Well, I'm not deep on it, but I think there was a bunch of lawsuits against pharmacies and other purveyors of the opioids, and the big settlement then goes back to the communities nationwide, as far as I know.
And then if you, what is it, Flock?
FLOCK.
That's LOCK, and then. I don't remember very much. I will connect with you about it. I didn't go Flock, I just don't know if I was saying it right.
Adrian's been doing it, and there were people concerned in the beginning, but then it's gotten quiet. I mean, from the sheriff's department perspective, once we're in the system, we can access all the data in the state of Michigan. But one of the things that I didn't mention within my notes is that we're getting 7 cameras as this passes, and like 3 or 4 of them are coming to our district. So I don't think this were particularly hotbed for criminal activity, but I think roads like Ridge Road and which runs through Ridgeway, where I represent that district, Deerfield Road, Rogers Highway, they'll see those as main paths of escape. We all asked, why aren't they going on putting them on 223, 50, US 12? I think there's a long-term plan to put them there, but the approval process is much longer from MDOT and so forth. So, and they require a more expensive mount for the camera.
They're MDOT, those roads are MDOT related versus the other ones not.
That's right.
Do you have by offhand how much that would block system would be?
I think the initial proposal is just short of $50,000 and we expect an annual operating expense of 25 to 30,000. In fact, that was one of the items of contention that said it was not identified in the sheriff's budget up front. And so they have contingency money for it now, but long term it needs to be sustainable.
You know if those cameras will be accessible by the public?
No, they will not be. The sheriff's department, it'd be just like running license plates, you know. I think in general you have to have probable cause, but
And there'll be a sign put up saying they're there.
no.
You could almost fund a deputy with that much.
Well, those questions were raised. That's a fair question.
Kevin, I appreciate you representing our district. I think you've been incredible the past few years. Again, you know, it's sort of for the little guy, and then you, like you alluded to, some of the benefits go to the more bushier, stronger representatives, and I appreciate you standing up for that. Leading into that, I want to talk about real quickly the 800 megahertz system for the 911 dispatch. We have a lot of issues down in our area.
Okay.
With bonking, with communications of like the 800 used to be VHF, and now it's all digital. So yeah, dead zones, all the radio towers communicating. You could literally click and talk to somebody and you'd be, it's crystal clear over this digital network. We have to have the towers to do it. And it sounds like, again, we're paying everybody here, whether you live in Adrian or wherever, we're paying the 911 fee for cell phones, landlines, etc. There's two towers very close together up at the sheriff's department, up at Valley and 52, whatever, and the rest of the area. We have a lot of complaints from our fire department, our PD, etc. Dead zones in this area. And again, this isn't hard. Our county, a rectangle, you can quadrant it off and do your towers right properly. Again, if Riga, Blissfield, Ogden, Deerfield, etc. are paying up for those funds, we should get a tower over here that's gonna support our system. Again, why there's two towers right in Adrian, Scouts area, is beyond me. But again, if we're paying for that, you get enough people that are gonna be upset when they find out that we're not getting the coverage. And maybe you won't see that 911 bond or that 911 bill go through the next time. So I hope you would, again, I'm not trying to throw, sling mud or anything, but again, if we're paying into it, we should be able to utilize that system, and hopefully it would represent us that with the sheriff's department order on today.
Sure, the problems aren't solved until we identify them. So, and I'll be at criminal justice tomorrow and I'll bring it up. It's not my committee, but
100% appreciate it. I wish Chief were here, he's at a conference, but absolutely.
thanks, folks.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, anything else, any other communication wise? No? If not, we will move on to the agenda for tonight.
Move to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
Got a motion, Bill, a second, Eric, to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Any changes? Now, Lisa, call roll.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Carries. Moving on to public comment. You see a few members here that have items on the agenda. If you want to hold your discussion till then, feel free. But if there's anybody that does want to address council regarding anything, just please approach the podium. Doug, welcome, sir. See ya. Thank you. Here. Officer Sean, everybody, thanks. Nice to have you here. So. All right, moving on, unfinished business. Anyone have any? On the new business, we do have a resolution regarding liquor license application for barbecue at the farm. We got representatives here. Pretty cut and dry, just like every other year. Any questions regarding such? Now I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the resolution recommending approval of special liquor license application for the BBQ at the barn to be held on August 1, 2025 at the American Farm Museum Administration Center located at 400 East Jefferson, Michigan. Or
Motion, Bill, support, Ken. To approve the resolution recommending approval of the special liquor license application for the barbecue at the barn. To be held on August 1st, 2025 at the American Farm Museum and Education Center located at 400 East Jefferson Street. Any discussion?
Yes, please. Question, if I may. So we know that there has been, the transition of the museum being established right now down at, Golden Pathway House. So I think that some of the folks are kind of curious about the money that's being held slash, being raised for the museum now. What will that money go towards, please? Could you clarify that?
The money that was given by donors in the past. We'll use that to continue to develop the displays for the toy collection and for maintenance and for rent and all the utilities.
And that would be for the Pathway House, now former Pathway House.
We'll use some of it for that, yes. But we may continue to develop the other site as things progress.
Okay, that was, I think that's probably the best way to say it, is the monies that are being raised. So that site, I think that my understanding from some of my folks that have talked to me is, okay, what has happened to the money that has been put into the historical museum? And when money is raised now, where is that gonna go towards? And I'm hearing you say that it'll, still looking at the,
Right, it'll be a combination,
okay,
yes. We'll try to continue to develop long-term down there
maybe that's.
for more of the education center. But for now, to get the toys on display at the
That's the
house
objective.
location.
The objective, the toys on display, next objective with all this other financials is right down here to continue that, yeah. Thank you for that clarifying. Thank you. I didn't ask that very well, but you were.
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. We've heard it a few times lately.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to throw in regarding the liquor license request at least? Who else? Lisa, call roll.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
No.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Motion carries. Oh, elect, yeah. All right. Number two, potential use of property by Bailey family chiropractic requesting to place a air conditioner condenser unit in the mini park. Got Dan Bailey here representing himself. Dan, are we have questions?
I have no question.
I think is the footprint gonna be in that 3x3? Oh, okay.
Dan, your current unit is on the roof, correct?
Correct.
Is there a reason why they would not replace it and put it on the roof as well?
There's a few, just the process of replacing it, the condensing line has to be replaced, which currently goes through the roof, through the walls into the basement. And it will require tearing out ceilings, drywall walls, all the way to the basement to redo that essentially.
That older unit was probably there before you overtook the building.
No, we put that in when we took over the building. When, at the time of putting it in, everything was empty inside, so it was easy to go up. But now with finished ceilings and walls and so forth. Much more difficult task. Access to the roof, we don't technically have without a ladder. You know, the neighboring property has always granted us permission when asked to go up there, but for service and things of this nature, it's a little bit bigger ask of them to allow this to go up across their roof and so forth, so. More so just that than anything else. We have had some issues, other internal issues with the unit on the roof, vibrational issues from the unit and leakage issues, roof issues with that, so getting it off the roof would be ideal.
Move council to approve the request from Bailey's Family Chiropractic to install an exterior HVAC unit on Village Park property adjacent to their building. Provided the unit is placed as close to the structure as possible, is installed on a non-permanent stand and minimizes the disturbance of existing vegetation.
Support.
All right. Motion, Tim, second Bill, to approve the request for Bailey Family Chiropractic to install an exterior HVAC unit on Village Park property adjacent to their building. Provided the unit is placed as close to the structure as possible, is installed on a non-permanent stand, minimizes disturbance to existing vegetation. Further discussion. I'm gonna turn my hand around, put my DA on it. Laura, so we've talked about revitalizing, redoing that park. Do you have concerns? Again, you know, we've had other neighbors that put garbage cans on that property, et cetera. What? I'm just trying to not shoot ourselves in the foot. What do you think on this? I would much rather see it. A mini split, something attached to your wall, brackets, whatever, Dan, again, I fully support you, but again. You know, we open up a can of worms every time we do something like this, so I just want to, you know, how is this gonna affect our quote potential redevelopment of that property, which we wanted to do?
Can I speak from here, or do I have to go to the microphone?
You,
I prefer you go to the microphone.
go. Thanks, Laura.
Sorry.
Just a second. I did go over and look at the site, I know Danielle did too, and it's very minimal, there's some, things on the wall, so it would just be down a little bit, it would be in vegetation right there, it would not impede any of our future plans for that area. I went and looked at our drawings that we currently have, and they don't interfere, so even if we move forward with plans for that, I don't see there being an issue.
Appreciate
Also, like, I think even with the mini split, you're gonna have some, so.
it. You perhaps could set up, mount it on the wall.
I did include a photo in the packet as well, just to show you generally kind of where it would go. Within the park, I know it's not the best perspective, but it shows a little bit.
I think with the proper plantings, it would be fine, small.
And, you know, again, it's a downtown area, it's challenged, we've had stairs and overhangs and things like that, we've had people kind of encroach on village property, which it's just sort of a part of being downtown sort of thing, so I totally get that. Again, I just don't want to set ourselves up for, oh, we had the stage area set up here, or we were gonna do this or whatever with our future proposal of revitalizing that, and then we're quote removing that or removing that or whatever.
So the stage would be on the opposite side, and any pavers or anything would not include that part of where he is.
The stage was on the south side.
I think it's on the other side.
Okay.
Maybe I'm thinking of the eating area, but the
Yes,
stage
eating
is up, the stage is up more towards the
further
front.
Okay.
This is more towards the back. I apologize, I am reversing that.
And I'll go ahead and say on this piggyback that I don't think we should do anything to that park, because if we have the opportunity to continue with our bicentennial park, I think our bicentennial park can incorporate the idea that you guys wanted to do for this park. Just a little side note.
I agree.
And we already have stage at the bicentennial. Just wanted to-
That's a topic for another day.
It is, it was my, so I felt it was our duty to say that is something else that we do have.
Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. All right, any other discussion on that one? Now, Lisa, call roll.
Sherry,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Motion carries. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you being here.
Okay. I can give you your big.
You gotta maintain the park though, that's the deal.
Yeah.
I'll hire Denise.
He's letting us use his roof and his tree this year for Christmas, so I'm really
Don't,
excited about that.
don't feel the need to stay if you don't want to. Dan.
I'll say
More work.
community work in action, Dan. Okay, bye, Dan.
Up next, on three, we have a wastewater treatment plant sludge removal, oxidation ditches lining. We did receive one quote. Staff's recommending that we reject that bid due to the price of rebid.
I will make a motion to move to reject all bids received for the wastewater treatment plant. Oxidation ditch cleaning and sealing project.
Motion Quinn, second Sherry to reject all bids received for the wastewater treatment plant oxidation ditch cleaning and sealing project. Discussion. Danielle?
So we are actively looking at some alternative solutions to get this taken care of within our budget amount for this year, which is $376,000. But really, what I'm hoping is we'll reject this bid so that we can keep moving forward and have some conversations with some companies and get some more information. I will be bringing additional information back to you guys, but I want to let the bidding company know and be respectful that they did submit a bid, and I don't want them to feel like we're trying to go around them or do something different. And I also don't know, we typically award or reject within 45 days. So I want to be within that time frame as well. So I don't have a ton of information for you guys other than we are actively trying to work on this and figure out how to proceed.
What was the original number you were trying to aim for?
We budgeted $376,000.
The bid was 1.25.
Yes. A little off.
Well, close.
Yeah.
Right. If there's no further discussion, we'll call roll, please.
Ken,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to reports. Parks and Rec. Anyone have any questions regarding the report? Water treatment plant. Only administrator.
No question. We know when the Dollar Tree sign is coming in.
I don't, they submitted for a permit and Maddie, I believe, approved of that, but I don't think they paid for it or done anything else yet.
Are they doing the monument one for the?
Yes, they did apply for a monument sign.
It's the old pole coming down or is it staying there?
I would like it to come down, but I'm not sure on that either. We can ask the property owner if he plans to remove it. They're planning to use the existing monument sign that is actually on the adjacent parcel, which used to be the old Blissfield State Bank. It's now the law offices. So they're not planning to put a monument next to that old one, so they won't even be in the or near that existing pole. That's why I'm not sure if it'll come down or not.
Thank you. If I guess that'll be in a different spot than that one.
Correct. There's an existing monument sign there right now that says law offices. That's what they applied to use for Dollar Tree. Almost called it their own name.
Oh, I have a question, Danielle. I don't know if this is how that would work. Are we allowed as council to see the FOIA requests that have been received / some of these other violations and things of that nature? Just simply asking, I'm not trying to be nosy, I'm looking to be informed of these requests, like what are they, what kind of requests are they? I don't know what our options are as council to get that information, nor should we see. I'm asking, and I don't know how you guys feel about that either. The code complaints or the letters out, it's page 178, 179 on Jenny, guys. I just know that there's 26 code complaints, 22 confirmed violations and letters sent. Just wondering if, I guess basically regarding the detail. If we can be provided the details, should we see the detail? Are we allowed to see the detail?
Yes, you are allowed to see the details. Yes, we could provide them. I guess I will do whatever council chooses. I guess I would just like to respectfully remind you that you guys should be 50,000 view, you should be setting the policy, and I think you're getting into the weeds at that level, which is what staff is do. We're here to do the day-to-day.
Right.
So again, if that's the information you want, I'm more than happy to provide it, but if you have a specific concern or question,
No.
be happy to address it. I just don't know that you guys need to see that detail. But again, we work for you guys in the public, so.
Get it as a micromanagement kind of a thing, just more of the knowledge behind it, having that information. This is.
So are you wanting to know, like process or how we, or what?
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, so if there are 6 FOIA requests, what are the requests for? Is it for? What do they FOIA for? I guess maybe
A majority of our FOIAs are for like police reports, body cam, dash cam, are a majority. Now, that's certainly not all of them.
And who FOIAs that kind of stuff?
All kinds of people. It could,
Seriously.
if somebody's going to court, it could be an attorney that FOIAs that, it could be, you know, if I was in an accident and I could FOIA the information. We've had other police departments, we've had CPS, it can be, anybody.
Insurance companies.
Insurance companies.
Yeah, I'm thinking like.
In our,
Kind of doing a FOIA thing, but it's not necessarily. Oh.
yeah, there is a lot of that as well, and I'm saying police reports and body cams is a majority, I mean, we get. I'm trying to think of, I have such a wide array, we've had FOIA requests for.
Past building permits on properties.
We've had FOIA requests for utility payments that were paid. The who?
The media.
Media.
Oh, the media, yeah. So I mean, it ranges. Maddie keeps our FOIA records for us, and she has a binder that has all of them. We keep them, retention on them is 1 year. We keep the required retention on those. You are more than welcome to look at that binder. It's really a lot of boring things to look at, but you certainly can.
And then
And then when it comes to the code violations, we do have a form when we receive a complaint that we use. But on top of that, what's a little bit easier, because then that form gets filed in retention on, that's 5 years. But she keeps an Excel sheet that tracks the progress of those so that she knows when deadlines are, what's due next. Rather than trying to look at a whole drawer of files and keep those organized. So again, you guys are more than happy to share that. I just
don't need to have it in the packet. Correct. Okay, that answers my question. Yeah, thanks. Because the thing I like about this, of course, I think we've mentioned it before, is having this report on a monthly basis. It is, but I think very highly. Thank you. Okay.
Anyone else? Questions on the report? Okay. Move on to council discussion. Line share. Tim?
Where we at on the underwater, under river water lines? Is it pretty much finished?
Nearly. We did the connections on the east side of the river, so this side of the river today. They're going to be getting all of the taps ready. There's the apartments and then a couple homes on Monroe tomorrow. But the actual connection for those will be, tie-ins will be Wednesday. They'll get that all set up and then it'll just be some minor cleanup and they'll be out of here by the end of this week. Assuming all goes well and we run into no So fingers crossed.
Thank you, that's it.
We take that off with the, when they fill that and seed it, whatever. Unfortunately, people just don't understand that. When they go to the park there or the playground, or whatever, they're parking on that newly planted seed and sod and whatnot, and it's just mush.
What do you want to do?
Where they backfilled and graded and seeded, they were already, residents are tearing it off. and
Yeah,
parking
keep
it.
parking
I
it.
don't know why that's so hard to understand, but you know, we need 4 bollards or something, but. Again, just caution tape it off or whatever, just have to close it, we can get some grass down, you know.
We can, we're just, keep in mind, we're going into festival and
Yep.
other activities.
Well, I don't want to pay to
May-
see that, so I'm gonna regret it.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
sorry, but
we were already there. We did talk to the contractor about that, but we can look at getting something up. I'll talk to DPW.
thanks. Eric,
Did you not have anything?
when,
Excuse me, I do. I'd like to have a conversation regarding the library, please. I'd like to have a discussion regarding basically what is our status with the library going forward? It is now in June. I'm curious as to a discussion of rental agreement with the library. Because the library is being utilized and it is a village building structure. And I'm just curious, again, status and possible rental until we have an agreement established for a sale of the building. And I want to know if council would have that discussion.
Since you asked, I would like to see something wrapped up no later than the end of this fiscal year. With either the transfer of that building and or whatever else has to happen.
Our fiscal year ending September.
31, or 30th, whatever is the last day.
And I can provide an update, kind of a little one. I did get an email from the library board president last Friday. They had hired a company to do an inspection of the roof because they had concerns with the standing water. I will be sending that to you guys. I will be completely honest. I saw the email. I skimmed it, flagged it and said, I will come back to this. I don't have time right this second. I did not get to it today, but they are requesting some repairs. The report, I'm summarizing again, I'll send this to you, essentially says that there's some ponding, that it's not of concern, that Duralast is known for handling ponding, that it does not void the warranty, which was their main concern. But then they did identify a couple other, again, minor things that they want us to take care of. Some of that is tied to the roof project, and I will reach out to the contractor and let you know. Some of it is completely outside of the scope. But again, I planned on sending that with a summary of what they've requested and some additional information so that you guys have it.
personally, I'm done thought about that roof. Okay, we've had Duralast out there, it's a flat roof. Okay, there's always gonna be some ponding on it, whether you look at any of these downtown buildings, that happens, that is a flat roof. It is meant to have a little bit of ponding, it doesn't affect it, you go up there and you clean it, et cetera. As long as it's draining, they've warranted it, they've guaranteed that they're gonna warranty it. I'm done talking about the roof, it is time to move on from the roof.
And didn't we just review pictures that you had taken
Yeah.
after a lot of rain?
I took pictures at different times, one after a rain that had fell about 3 days before. And then one while it was still raining after we had received over 3 inches of rain the night before. And there was virtually no difference in the ponding or depth.
And there's gonna be a certain amount of rains.
There was no more than an inch of water in the ponding areas. What I observed up there on the roof was debris keeping the water from draining in the drains. That's what I,
And that happens, but all flat roofs, you gotta get up there and maintain it, like, guess what? Keep your shutters, keep your drains open, that's part of having a flat roof. When, you're right, I mean, we need to
Well,
we need to go forward.
I like the comment that Eric is saying, and I don't know, perhaps if we should have a discussion at a committee of the whole.
Well, we got stuff to do.
Well, that's true, there's stuff.
Is that, is the sale, is that being held up because of the roof?
they have drugged their feet for literally 4 months. I'm getting the roof inspected like they wanted to have done. And also with Danielle has communicated with them several times to get the ball rolling in the process of transferring of that.
Well, if we start charging them money, maybe they'll.
And I will tell you that, I did email them when I initially reached out regarding transferring the building. I did provide my recommendation to them. I shared that ultimately it is up to council, but my recommendation was that we transfer the building for $1 and they take over the building and essentially we give it to them and or we charge them rent.
Do you have an
for
approximation,
that building.
Danielle, roughly when that was set?
I would have to double check my emails to tell you, but I do know it's been a couple months. Because my goal was also to have this wrapped up and taken care of by the end of this fiscal year.
And that's why I was saying that we're in June now. Okay, so we were, and our goal was in January, February, we were hoping this would be kind of completed at this time. Subcommittee, can you guys remind, who's on the subcommittee for the library?
Well, that's the other thing I was going to bring up. It's James and Mike. So if you were wanting to keep a subcommittee, we should probably get Mike some help.
Refill 2 spots.
Well, and I'm asking, I'm not trying to be smart, is a subcommittee necessary? At this time, knowing that we want to go forward, with the transition, the transfer of the property. Maybe if you think it's still.
I think it helped with the communication, because like you alluded to, we didn't get, regarding the bond, regarding everything else and the agreements.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of, nothing really progressed, so I think that it helped to an extent.
Mhm.
So again, if we could sit down with their subcommittee or their other board and say, this is what we're looking for, what are you looking for? Let's try to get this done before the end of the fiscal year.
I
think
like-
it would be beneficial.
I like-
Eric's got a lot of experience, he should probably
Being
volunteer to be on that.
that James was on the committee, subcommittee, that tells you it was at least 8 months ago.
April 1st is when I initially sent that email. We had talked about it before and wanted them to get through the transition. So that's when I asked them about having a discussion. I did initially request to establish a subcommittee of some kind and they opted to take it to their board and said they'd get back to us.
Has not happened.
I did reach out to, the president back on May 28th, because I had not heard anything from them. And at that time, they indicated that they were waiting on the roof inspection, that they had authorized or approved it. And then, like I said, I did get the email on last Friday with the actual inspection. But that's the only communication I've had.
It's time, again, bringing up that horse 1.25 mils, again, it's falling back on our residents. It's time for them to either take that building and run it under their district library. Because again, it's not up to the residents of the village of Blissfield to continue supplementing that when they've got their funding mechanism in place.
And they have a board in
Yes,
place,
they
the
do.
board needs to step up. And let's get moving.
Yep. I agree.
Well, would you, Eric, would you consider being on that
So I would,
subcommittee?
be on a subcommittee. Was it 3 before, Danielle, or not?
It was just Mike, James and myself, and really I'm usually just the note taker and the coordination person. So if you want that.
If there's anyone want to step up for that, otherwise we could still. Try to move
I
forward.
mean, if you want a third, I'll jump in as a third unless somebody else would like to do that. I'll jump in as a third if you jump. Don't say.
I'll make a motion to
Pick up my
change that. Structure.
I would make a motion to change the structure of the subcommittee for the library to include Eric Rogers, Gwen Dusa, and Mike Gunter. Another motion.
Reach out to them.
Oh, reach out to the library to have a, transfer of property by the end of the 25 fiscal year.
Yeah, second.
That's important.
Motion, go ahead, second, Sherry, to, hash or change the subcommittee for the library. To Eric, Gwen, myself. And, meet with the board, the library board, to discuss options of turning that property over to them by the end of fiscal year 24-25.
Yes.
Hope I got that right, Lisa.
Sounds good.
All right, any further discussion? Please call roll.
Eric,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Carries. All right, move down, Bill, anything discussion?
I have nothing.
No. Ken?
No.
All right, I got quick ones here, section 216, how's that moving forward? Get, planning commission didn't meet regarding that. This one, right, I mean.
Or talking
something-
about zoning ordinance,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. My brain did not transfer to that. We did meet last. Was it last? I know I'm so bad at my calendar anymore. We recently met with Nichols Webster to review 2 additional chapters. It was a really good discussion. It was a lot of processing. So the next section is going into permitted and special uses, which will be quite a bit more extensive. We'll have a lot of additional conversation. I have been emailing you guys that information as they send it. Provide comments now, later, obviously now is helpful because it lets us kind of keep up with it, but that doesn't mean that there's not like, you can still provide it. We'll keep doing that, and then Maddie's been emailing it to the planning commission to make sure that they get to provide feedback too. But we are still moving forward with that. I think it's going really well. Laura's also on that committee with Eric and Laura, do you guys have anything to add or?
No, I think it was pretty standard statutory stuff that we've dealt with so far. I think we're gonna get into the nitty-gritties.
Yeah, it's been kind of the boring stuff that's really important to the foundation of the ordinance, and then where it does go back on those statutory requirements and what we can do, and now we're gonna start getting into what does Blissfield want for us, and where we have some flexibility to make some decisions and do some different things, so. For that part, we'll definitely have some more conversation tied to it.
Good. You can see
And
that.
they are keeping that zoning website updated, which you can link through our ordinance revisions too, so you can see the timeline and progress on that too, or if any public are curious. Again, it's, if you go to our website under council ordinance revisions, there's a link to their page for the zoning specifically.
Other than that, I just want to thank all the council members that are serving on these subcommittees. We have a lot going on regarding, schools, EFS, library, legal issues, et cetera. So we got to thank you guys for that. There's a lot of behind the scenes actually going on. Committee of the whole, I don't know, we got another public comment, do we? Anybody from public, squad to address council? From press? All right.
The press, I like.
Committee of the whole, budget, that's pretty good. Budget work sessions. July 21st, 22nd, 23rd, generally we can.
Those are 3 o'clock sessions, correct? 3 to 5, is that right?
No, 6 p.m. And typically. You guys, in the past, we've tried to do like a couple hours and then we say, okay, we're gonna go to the next night because budget starts to make you go cross-eyed a little bit. So Monday night, we will be meeting for water and sewer budgets. And if we can squeeze a small fund or something else in, we will, but our goal is water and sewer. And then Tuesday, my goal would be we finish everything else. And then cancel Wednesday unless we need it, then obviously we'll come in for that, but I wanna say the last couple of years, we've done about 2 hours. Because after that, like I said, it starts to get to be a little bit too much. But I did send that to you guys so you can start digesting and looking at it ahead of time.
Oh, there's something else too. Don't forget your answer evaluation.
Thanks for volunteering to tell you those. Yes, please, what day you want to buy?
They need to be 25, right?
Yes, end of the month.
Evaluations for Danielle, right? What?
Look at that. The 13th.
Shoot. So. Okay. That's what's important. If there's nothing further, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 6:56 p.m.
Smart. All right, Chair Bill's over. Sorry.
Mhm.
Motion, Tim, second Bill to adjourn to 6 p.m. Call roll.
Sherry,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Carries, we're adjourned. And it did pop in, a